Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to another little throwback here, and what I now realize is my fourth film featuring Vincent Price that I'm covering, with the 1963 film inspired by the Edgar Allan Poe poem of the same name, The Raven. This one is starring Vincent Price as mentioned, Peter Lorre, and Boris Karloff, and the synopsis for this film is as follows. A magician who has been turned into a raven turns to a former sorcerer for help. Yeah, it doesn't sound much like the poem, but so we get Lorre here as the magician, Price as the sorcerer, and Karloff is kind of like a third party here who is involved in that transformation into the raven. So also along for the ride, which it's a very, very young Jack Nicholson, who was only 26 years old at the time. And, for this one, he's reteaming with Roger Corman, who serves as director, who had also worked with him on Little Shop of Horrors a few years earlier. So, if you are familiar with Poe's poem, keep in mind that this is just inspired by it. And by inspired by it, I mean, they take the introduction, the poem about this raven, and speaking of Lenore and the sorcerer, kind of from the poem itself. But everything else built around that is kind of going in all sorts of directions that are not very representative of the poem. It's very comical and lighthearted. So, and by that I mean it's really not dark or brooding at all. It's very light. It's very whimsical. It's a comedic film. We get some creepy aesthetic and tones, but let's just say that the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney is by far much, much darker, and we all know how lighthearted that is. It's a ride at a Disney park, but so that kind of needs to be expected going in for this one. The story of this, of course, centers more around this magician who was stuck as a raven, and they're trying to get turned back into a human, confronting the one who did it, during which there's more uncovered about the sorcerer's wife, Lenore, and some other schemes and plots kind of going on with this character played by Karloff. But the main takeaway from this one, I would say, is that the tone is much more of a comedy than anything else. Similar to The Old Dark House, which I'd done a review for, I want to say about a year and a half ago, because though this is set against that creepy backdrop like Old Dark House was, it's a comedy through and through. If expecting something dark, one would definitely be disappointed with this one. The entire tone, especially during the sorcerer showdown that we have at the end, it's very lighthearted and comedic, as after all, this is a rated G film, so it really is more of a film for fun. A little bit creepy, but mainly it's fun and comedy. Feels more like fantasy than horror or anything else. But this one is definitely entertaining, for sure. If you go in with the right expectation for it, and I feel it'll serve as like a great backdrop to maybe like a little Halloween party or something, to have this going on in the background, as the pacing is a little bit odd, a little bit choppy at points, but it would work well to, have on and add some interesting ambience and get to see, all these legends, back during the 60s and everything. One interesting thing I realized when checking this one out, which is that, like The Pit and the Pendulum, and I thought I'd seen this one, but it turns out I actually hadn't. I think I'd gotten this one mixed up with Tales of Terror, that maybe this was a story within Tales of Terror. But if anything, it really makes me want to go ahead and check out Tales of Terror again. I know it's been probably over 10 years since I'd seen that one, and I remember enjoying that one quite a bit. Anyways, this is just a quick little video, which, like the last one I reviewed for Charlie Bartlett, this film is also available on Tubi. Like I said, it's not as dark as one may be expecting or maybe want, but, considering that it's Edgar Allan Poe, after all. But it's fun, light comedy, definitely worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this very quick little entry here for this retro review for The Raven from 1963, currently available on Tubi, so head on over there to check it out if interested. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this video, and if not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that little button there, and maybe hit that little bell to get notifications for when I put up new content, which is usually anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week. Anyways, thanks again for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one.